Once there was a boy named Alexander who loved playing with army toys and dreaming of becoming a real soldier one day. He would set up battles with his army men figures and imagine himself fighting against the enemy to save his country. As Alexander grew up, he knew deep in his heart this was his calling and purpose in life, to serve his nation and defend those who cannot defend themselves. When Alexander turned 18, he immediately enlisted in the army. He underwent grueling training where he learned discipline, strength, and the values of honor and sacrifice. Alexander excelled in his training, and his instructors saw that he had the makings of an elite soldier. After training, Alexander was deployed to a faraway place for his first military operation. The mission was dangerous, but vitally important to protect innocent civilians from harm. Alexander led his squad to face unknown threats and face the enemy head-on. During one particularly intense firefight, Alexander pushed forward to engage the enemy, while the rest of his squad took cover. He single-handedly stormed their positions and destroyed their assets, saving the lives of his fellow soldiers. Alexander was shot twice during this heroic charge, but he kept going, never giving up. When Alexander returned home, he was honored with the Purple Heart for his valor and wounds suffered in battle. But true heroes do not seek honors. They seek only to serve the greater good. Alexander healed from his injuries and returned to active duty, deploying again and again to fight for peace in dangerous places. As Alexander rose through the ranks, he became a mentor and role model for new recruits. He taught them about the values of self-sacrifice, perseverance, and service above self. Over the course of Alexander's military career, he fought in dozens of battles and engagements. He rarely spoke about his exploits, but his fellow soldiers knew of his bravery. Alexander saved countless lives through his strategic thinking, quick instincts, and willingness to always be on the front lines. Although he was injured again several times, he kept returning to duty until the job was done. After many years, Alexander retired from the military. Though now an old man, he still carries himself with the discipline and honor of a fine soldier. Alexander may never receive the fame or accolades he deserves, but in the hearts of those whose lives he saved and those he mentored, Alexander will forever be known as a true hero and the embodiment of selfless sacrifice and bravery. Now resting at home, Alexander can look back on a lifetime of service to his country with pride, knowing he lived his purpose and made a difference through his willing devotion to the greater good. Above all else, that, my friend, is the true mark of a brave soldier. After retiring from the military, Alexander decides to settle down in a small town where he can live a quiet life. He builds a cabin in the woods and spends his days fishing in the local lake, enjoying the peace and serenity after so many years of conflict. However, Alexander's spirit of service and bravery is not so easily quelled. One day, he sees smoke rising from a house on the outskirts of town. Alexander rushes over and discovers the house is on fire with an elderly couple trapped inside. Without hesitation, he runs into the burning building and rescues the couple from the flames. Just as a part of the roof comes crashing down, though burnt and smoke inhaled, Alexander saved two innocent lives that day with his courage and selflessness. Word of Alexander's heroism spreads through the small town, as more people begin to recognize this newcomer as the brave soldier. Rumor of Alexander's military career and exploits begin to follow. Despite Alexander's reticence for fame, the townsfolk treat him as a hero. The local high school asks Alexander to come talk to the students about service, bravery and sacrifice. Though initially reluctant, Alexander is eventually persuaded and shares his life story with the teenagers. His message inspires the students who had previously seen life as ordinary and inconsequential. Alexander shifts their perspective to see the great value in serving a noble cause greater than oneself. As years go by, Alexander finds himself caring for the townsfolk who have become like family to him. When floods threaten the town, Alexander is there to help build sandbag defenses. When an elderly woman goes missing in the woods, Alexander heads up the search party that finds her. In big ways and small, Alexander continues to live a life of service, using his experience, wisdom and courage to make the world just a little bit brighter. Perhaps the greatest legacy of Alexander's brave soldier spirit is passing that spirit on to the next generation. Seeing Alexander's selfless example, the young people of the town strive to become better versions of themselves. They begin volunteering, mentoring others, and standing up for what is right. Inspired by the courageous soldier in their midst who never stopped fighting the good fight, no matter how peaceful his surroundings may seem. And so, though Alexander has hung up his uniform for good, the spirit of the brave soldier lives on, not just within him, but within all those he has inspired through nothing more than his own quiet example of duty, honor and sacrifice.